Yeah, we are.
Yes.
Good morning. This is the, sorry. Good morning. This is the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals Public Review Session for November 30th, 2020, the 10 a.m. session. The following cases are adjourned. Item number 1, 2018-102A, 241 Grand Street, Brooklyn. And item number 2, 2019-265BZ, 60371A, 35 Giffords Lane. The following case is postponed. 2019-277BZ, which is 8104 166th Street, Queens. The following case is to request it to be withdrawn. Item number 4, 2018-30A, which is 40 Flatbush Avenue Extension. Do you want to vote on that?
Oh, yes, good idea. All right, so for a motion to withdraw.
Chair Perlmutter?
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta?
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta? Decision items. Item number 5, 30313BZ, 506-510 Brook Avenue, the Bronx.
Okay, so we just received proof that the fee for extension of time to complete construction was paid. And let me just see if there were any. Okay. Requested notes were added to the drawings, including bubbles and keyed-in list. And then, so I think we have everything we need unless someone has additional comment. So I'd like to make a motion to grant on condition that all the prior conditions apply. And we should add that in addition to the prohibition on transfer of the project to other ownership, the grant assumes development of a project for income levels as stated in the resolution. Okay, so on that motion to grant.
Chair Perlmutter?
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta?
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta? Item number 6, 2019-74BZ, 11251 Northern Boulevard, Queens. Marjorie?
Yeah, I'm scrolling. Sorry, I need
I thought something happened.
discussion. All right, so I think we have everything. There was no submission on this time, so I'd like to make a motion to grant.
Chair Perlmutter?
Yeah, aye.
Vice Chair Chanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown? Commissioner Otley Brown?
I think we lost her. She went dark.
Yeah, she's frozen.
No, she's there.
There she is. Can you hear us? Unmute yourself.
Me?
Yeah, you're asking.
Aye. I was frozen. Yes, aye.
Chair, Commissioner Sheta?
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta?
Aye.
Item number 7, 2020-40A, 139-141 Orchard Street, Manhattan.
Okay, I don't think we had any issues on this, so no submission, so a motion to grant.
Chair Perlmutter?
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta?
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta?
Aye.
Item number 8, 2018-170A, 5103 Van Dam Street, Queens.
Okay, I didn't see withdrawal letter submitted, and I believe at the hearing, the applicant said they would not be submitting one. So I'd like to make a motion to grant.
Chair Perlmutter?
No.
Vice Chair Chanda?
No.
Commissioner Otley Brown?
No.
Commissioner Sheta?
No.
Commissioner Shabeta?
No.
It's a 5-vote no. Application is denied. Item number 9, 8599BZ, 1106 Metcalf Avenue, the Bronx.
Okay. On this one, BSA reached out to the Commissioner of Consumer Affairs to see if the fine for this violation could be waived since the air tower was removed at the board's direction. That request is under consideration by the commissioner right now. This application, which was approved initially in August 2020, was reopened to allow the reintroduction of the air tower to the plans, but otherwise the terms of the prior grant should be continued. We had put the site on a short lease in August to ensure compliance with the terms. So I think that lease should be maintained since no other submissions were made during the last hearing in November or prior to that since the August closure and decision that would demonstrate compliance. So this is in response in part to our council's questions about the terms. And so it should just be a continuation of the terms of the original grant in August. So with that, a motion, does that answer all your questions, Chase?
So should the term be stated as a year, 6 months from today's decision date?
No, I think it should just, oh, is that how it was stated in the resolution, a year, 6 months, or it was an actual date?
It was not an actual date.
Okay. Yes, you can do a year, 6 months. It doesn't matter. Okay, so based on that, a motion to grant.
Chair Promoter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta.
Aye.
Item number 10, 2017-272BZ, 10-1946 Road, Queens.
Okay, so I don't think we got the updated drawings, though. There was a little
Not
confusion
yet.
on this, so I think we have to put this on for second call once we receive the drawings. So the issue here is a set of drawings were provided that show 2 fire doors separating this building from the adjacent building, and fire department signed off on 2 fire doors, but in fact there was only 1 fire door. It was just 2 shown on the plans. So since then, the fire department has signed off on having only 1 fire door between those 2 buildings, but the drawing still showed 2. So we asked the applicant to amend the drawing to just show 1 fire door so it doesn't look like it's out of compliance the next time it's here. And they're working on that right now, so they can come back in a little bit. And also we had asked for clarification on the floor area, which is indeed 4,620 square feet, because there was confusion about whether that number reflected area in this adjacent building, and it apparently didn't. And then to clarify also, the hours of operation were described in the statement of facts as very odd, only like 3-hour stints during the day kind of, and then closure. So my recommendation is that we just allow it to be, because that doesn't allow for any change in classrooms, in class schedule if you are only open from 6 to 9 and then from 12 to 3 and like that. So just to be open from 6 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Monday to Friday, and Saturday 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and they are closed on Sunday. So if our council could note that. And then, sorry, go ahead.
I believe that they're actually open later than that. They're actually open till 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and they're open till 8 p.m. on Fridays. We can do 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday.
Ah, okay, so they're so weird. So the last, so, okay, that's interesting that you say that. So the hours of operation in the last submission changed, but we can do 9 p.m. because it's not unusual for a gym to be open till 9. Okay, so 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Okay. Okay. And then Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Is that right?
That's correct. And
Yeah.
Sunday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Oh.
Wait, that's not what he,
No, so you know what, so Chase, so this is part of the confusion. So now we have counsel listening. Counsel for the applicant listening. That, I believe this is the one that had a different attorney, and the attorney changed and the statement of facts was never updated, right? So recently a statement of facts, like this morning or something, or over the weekend, a statement of facts was submitted by the current counsel, and the hours were showing closed on Sunday, whereas the older hours showed open on Sunday.
but
So,
the current, oh,
I just see the email from Miss Matias and I'll review it right now.
okay, so if we could review it, and if you have any questions, please reach out to counsel, because originally it was the Kalin Law Firm, and now it's Eric Palatnik. So, okay, so all of those things need to be cleared up before we can vote on this, but we can move this to the afternoon even for a vote if they're not cleared up, okay? All right,
item number 11, 2019-201BZ, 285 Grand Street, Manhattan.
okay. All right, a note was, as requested, added to the drawings, which show the specifics of the sound limiter settings in a variety of octave band frequencies. I found this actually very interesting because I think it's the first time we've seen the specifics of a limiter setting. Someone got, it must be strange feedback. Everyone, can you hear me?
Yeah, but there sounds like a thumping noise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can everyone mute until you're called on, please? And I think Commissioner Sheta is frozen now. Okay, so it was interesting to see these sound limiter readings. There's like, I don't know, 10 octave band frequencies that are set on the sound limiter. So that information should appear on the resolution. There's also a recommendation that's from the acoustical consultant that says a digital tamper resistant limiter should be placed in line with the audio playback system to ensure that music is below New York City noise code in the first level restaurant located at 285 Grand. So, and then they also confirmed, the applicant confirmed that there are no massage services and that the hours of operation are 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Friday and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Saturday, Sunday. And the other, so that's part of what needs to be in the resolution and or conditions in the resolution. And the other condition is that rogue boxes be used during weightlifting activities, and limiters used at all times consistent with the recommendations, and this is where the information is, by acoustical engineers February 3rd, 2015 report, which was submitted to the BSA on August 12th, 2019. And the same information is shown on the plans. Okay, council have that? Chase?
We have that.
Okay, good. All right then, so on those conditions, a motion to grant.
Chair Perlmutter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta.
Aye.
Item number 12, 2019-296BZ, 84 Franklin Street, Manhattan. I think are we still waiting for LPC?
Yeah, so we're actually going to be reaching out to LPC today, see if we can get an answer for what the situation here is, because we closed this in June, and that's very, very long for LPC to decide on an interior. So it could be something just held up by staff. It's really unclear. So anyway, we're going to be reaching out. So we have to defer again.
Item number 13, 2020-13 BZ, 71 Smith Street, Brooklyn.
Sound attenuation notes were added to the plan and the statement of facts and the cover letter, which is what we had asked for. So, okay. So I'd like to make a motion to grant.
Chair Perlmutter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta. Commissioner Shabeta?
Aye.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Item number 14, 2020-2020, 245 Park Avenue, Manhattan.
Okay. Applicant provided a cover letter clarifying the hours of operation, that there is no massages, and the acoustical situation in the site, as was actually discussed at the last hearing. We did need confirmation that this is not a legalization. Vinroy, were you able to get that?
Yes, I sent the email in. It's not a legalization, Commissioner.
Okay, great, thank you. I can't see the emails while we're in the hearing, so others need to check that, so.
Okay, so this is on Park, so motion to grant? Are
Yes.
we ready?
Sorry, yeah, sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the emails, it's a little hard. So, yeah, motion to grant.
Chair Perlmutter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Sorry, aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta.
Aye.
Item number 15, 2020-31 BZ, 100 William Street, Manhattan.
Acoustical notes were added to the plans, so, and that's all we were waiting for, so a motion to grant.
Chair Perlmutter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta.
Aye.
Item number 16, 2018-66 BZ, 118 West 72nd Street, Manhattan.
The applicant received a waiver from the mayor's office on people with disabilities concerning the ADA access. The plans have been revised to show accessibility related signage, ramp, and call button. And we received confirmation from the Landmarks Commission that a temporary ramp, removable sign that's located on the east side of the window or door, and a bell do not need LPC approval. Acoustical information was put on plans. So I think we are good to go. So I'd like to make a motion to grant.
Chair Perlmutter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta.
Aye.
Continued hearing items. Item number 17, 55137 BZ, 23302 Northern Boulevard, Queens.
Here we go. Just to alert everyone, there were many submissions on this last schedule. So you actually have to work backwards to find the entire submission and the most recent version of things. So just so everyone, all the commissioners are aware, there was a submission on November 12th, 16th, 23rd, and 2 on November 25th. As requested by Commissioner Sheta, a survey was provided on November 12th and incorporated into the drawing set at T004.3, showing the locations and elevations of the drains. Subsequent submissions included certifications by the surveyor and the surveyor's representation that there is flow from property corners to the drains. So that was submitted on 11/25. As requested, the restrictive declaration was amended, last version on November 23rd, because there are several, so, alert to council that there are several. The last one was 11/23, to reflect the number of parking spots for each use and separation of activities on this site from the adjacent one, which is what we wanted them to do. The restrictive deck must be executed and recorded before we can release the resolution, assuming the board votes to approve. Both our council and applicant's council must be sure that they are using the most recent version of the restrictive declaration. And I note that on all of these, I don't see a doc, what in law firms are called doc version numbers. I don't see that on any of the submissions really ever. I think, new requirement is that we should be seeing that on any kinds of documents that are constantly updated, because the restrictive deck just comes with a stamp that it was submitted, but we don't know if it was, two were submitted on the same day, or are they the same? Or is it doc number 1 or number 2? So there should be some version number that's always showing up on written documents, just like we asked for dates on drawings. Drawings were amended with a bubble key provided. Note to our project managers and applicants, the bubble key is supposed to have a number tied to each bubble. That's what the model provided with the administrative notice shows, though. So rather than, all of page 1 with lots of bubbles on it and a description of what was changed, each bubble has to have a number, and the number with a description. We see that in some of the other submissions, but not in this one. We're now back to, so now to get to the substance of it, we're now back to plants in pots in the trash area. I no longer know what to say about this, because we've been beating up about this trash area and how the landscaping would be provided for months. The plants in a pot will die in the winter. So I just don't even know what and I'd like to know what the thinking is behind. The architect should respond, because the architect drew it. We have that same thumping. Commissioner Sheta, can you mute? Not Commissioner Sheta, somebody else. Tony? Might be me. Vin, can you mute?
It's not me.
I think it was Vinroy. It stopped when he muted. I think it's Vinroy. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we need the architect to respond to the thinking behind pots and above a trash container. There's still no detail for the planting bed in the other corner. We've asked for this over and over again, and I don't understand why we keep asking for things over and over again and going back to where we were at the beginning. I just feel like this project isn't really being managed. There's something described as a high hedge link fence on T002.3. Is that the brand name of the product? Because when I search that, I do find a thing called a hedge link is a brand. So if that is the manufacturer, then that has to be stated on the drawing, and you need to specify the height on the drawing, not just high. It needs to say how high. And those were my comments. Vice Chair Shanda?
I really had no additional comment. The applicant has been responsive to all my questions. I think just going back to the planter on top of the trash can, I remember that this is something that was brought up at the previous round of like the initial application 2 years ago. And we had at that time I think at that time the applicant has submitted this option and we had accepted that. So I am a little uncomfortable at this point asking them to make that change. It's a kind of a carryover from what this board had approved a year or two ago.
No,
So
we
I think
we accepted it to have soil in it, not not pots. And the last hearing, they showed soil and they showed this gigantic tree growing in the soil, and the soil is only 16 inches deep. And I said, how in the world, or not even the soil, the whole planter thing. And I said, how in the world can a gigantic tree grow in 16 inches? And the response was to go back to pots, which we had said no to months ago, years ago. I no longer have kept track. So that's why I'm kind of don't understand.
So just so I understand, so you're asking them to kind of maintain this, but using the depth that we have, provide a realistic plant that can be grown in ground above the trash can, above the trash container.
No, I mean, originally it was provide a detail, provide plants, and then landscape it, and to show landscaping that's going to survive, as opposed to eyewash on drawings. And so far, it's obvious that they haven't asked anybody who knows about plants. They just keep sort of throwing things in, which is why we also don't have a detail of the planter in the corner of the the planter in the corner. We have no information on that, and we still don't, and we keep asking and asking, and we don't get it. That's what the frustration is, when we ask and we don't get, and we keep not getting. So I don't really know what the solution is anymore, because it feels like whatever it is, they're not going to do it. But anyhow, Commissioner Otley Brown.
I have no additional questions.
Okay. Any ideas about the planter?
Well, I feel honestly that the way this site, where it's actually located along Northern Boulevard at the edge of a wildlife area, I don't know that it's necessarily important to have landscaping here, because there is landscaping in the natural area that's behind the site. That, coupled with the fact that it actually is not located by any residential whatsoever, I don't think it's that necessary to ensure in-ground planting at this site. But I want to be specific when I speak about this site and the site next door, and not have my comments taken as a green light to argue against having landscaping in other situations. It's only in this narrow situation.
Okay, thank you. All right. Commissioner Sheta. You're muted.
Thank you. My major concern about this site from the beginning was the drainage. And when I looked at the drainage system they submitted, I thought that it's very inadequate. And that's why I was like arguing with them back and forth to prove it to us that it's not going to be any drainage issues when a storm take place. And when I looked at the calculations that they put on the drawings, on drawing T-003-03 or 0.03. If you look at the latest version of that drawing, to the left, you're gonna see a cross section of the dry well, which is this is the drainage element that receives all the runoff that's coming from the entire site. And honestly, if this was submitted without any calculations with it, I could have taken it, but thanks God, they put some calcs. And when I looked at the calcs, if you look at that third line, and by the way, this is the fourth time I talk about the same issue, and I'm not sure what's wrong with the applicant on this. You see that first line says Q equals CIA, then proposed the area is this, and then Q, which is actually the discharge of the stormwater that need to be drained to the dry well. And it says it's this times this times this, and I don't know what are these numbers except for the area. But at the end, it says SF, which is square foot. And this charge, as far as I understand, according to the education I got 35 years ago, it's measured in cubic something per unit time. So it could be cubic feet per minute, cubic feet per hour, gallon, which is a volume unit, per minute, per hour, GPM, meter cube per second, meter, but it's not a square feet. And then I said, wait a minute, what is this? Can you please fix that? And can you give us some more explanations about the design for the drainage system, which consists of 2 legs and then a connection to the dry well. And then they struggled for 2 hearings to give us that. And last hearing, I was like, give me grade elevations. I want to make sure that the grades of this site is going to be diverting all the storm water into the drainage system, not into the bed of Northern Boulevard. When you storm design a site like this, the main job for the site civil engineers to make sure that every drop of water is gonna fall on top of this site. It's not gonna go to the street. It's gonna go to the drainage system. That's why they designed their own drainage system, which is the dry well. And when they submitted to us this current submission, I saw 2 things. Number one, I still see the square feet thing, which makes me like very suspicious about the integrity of this design. By the way, you've been told previously that this design was approved by DEB, and later on, no, it wasn't approved. It wasn't even submitted to the DEB. So apparently nobody looked at this storm design, and this is not a small site. And in addition to that, when they submitted some of the grade elevations, number one, not all the grade elevations were submitted. What I asked for last hearing is grade elevation survey that covers the entire site. I just got some spot elevations. If you look at the survey that they submitted, and I'm talking about drawing T-004.03, they gave us some spot elevations, which based on these spots, even I was able to identify some spots where ponding is going to be happening. Ponding means that the storm water is going to come to this spot and it's not going to be diverted to the storm system, to the dry well or to the floor drain. And the second issue, it sounds like if I'm not confused, it sounds like the majority of this site is just dumping storm water into the bed of Northern Boulevard. So in case of a heavy storm, water is gonna be going from the site to the catch basins on street, not to the drainage system that they need to design adequately to accommodate whatever storm water that's falling on top of the site. That's why, honestly, I need to get to the bottom of this. I was very upset. I need that their engineer, the design engineer, to explain it to me how this is gonna work and why what we asked previously to be fixed is not fixed. That's not gonna fly. If we ask for something to be fixed, it needs to be fixed. And one time is enough. It doesn't need to be 4 times.
Mm.
So I'm waiting for the engineer. And by the way, a surveyor, it's not the job of a surveyor to issue a letter to say, yeah, the grades are good, water will flow towards the storm system, don't worry about it. No, the surveyor job is to go there and survey and give us the spot elevation or grade elevation or whatever. But he has nothing to do with whether this system is gonna be working or not. There is something called site civil engineer or a civil engineer who can design this system and make sure that's gonna be capable, adequate to accommodate the storm water runoff and whatever storm water falls on top of the site. And so far, I haven't seen this proof. So that's why I said, let's talk to the engineer. Probably he has an explanation for us.
Okay. The drawing that shows the new dry wells is prepared by an architect. I don't know whether the architect actually designed this, him or herself, or whether we worked with an engineer.
You know what? I saw an architect before on another case who signed and sealed excavation support system. So it's not weird that you see an architect signing and sealing a drainage system. I don't care whether it's designed by an architect, a civil engineer, or an astronaut. I care about whether it's going to be working or not.
Right. Okay. Understood. And I know, and ponding was really a big issue on this site. So
if the ponding is the only issue, if the ponding within the site is the only issue, I wouldn't be like that tough with them because it's their own problem. I would alert them like I do in every other case when I see something alerting, but I would let it go because it's their structure. But the issue here is you have like the major portion of the site drains to the street, and it can be like that.
mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Thank you.
So
And,
let's see what the engineer is going to be like filling us.
okay.
Let's.
Okay. And Commissioner Shabeta. And I see Commissioner Shanda's hand up.
Chair. I don't have anything further to add. I agree. I look forward to hearing the responses to Commissioner Sheta's statement. With regard to the planting, while I appreciate Commissioner Otley-Brown's statements, I don't see any point of having planting that's not going to survive. So I'd want to hear some sort of response from the applicant with regard to that. And I understand there isn't residential around, and I'm not sure what's happening to one of the buildings adjacent, but I know that it was a type of some sort of church or faith ministry program. So it's not like a strong commercial use. So I want to hear what the applicant has to say about how to keep the site as pristine as possible.
Mm-hmm. And Vice Chair Shanda.
Yeah, I think I agree with what Commissioner Otley-Brown said. I was actually thinking about it in that same frame of mind, is that it's surrounded by a natural preserved parkland, and there isn't any housing or anything. And I think the property on one side is another auto-related use, which is the case that we're going to hear after this. And I think the site next to it, it's not even it's like a abandoned roadway of some sort. It's not even a mapped tax lot, so it's not a buildable site. And so and it's overgrown in that area by trees. So I think at the end of it, effort on our end, specifically to this site, to have to green the edges, it's an exercise in futility. It's really not going to make much of a difference having a few planters there versus what is naturally around it. At most, if they're going to put any planters on top of the trash can, I would be okay with it being a potted plant, some beautification if at all, or nothing even. I'm okay with that too. So I know we were looking at it more from a beautification point of view, but I would agree that what the mother nature that surrounds it cannot be improved upon in greater number with additional trees at the corner of Northern Boulevard of this site. With regards to the drainage plan, I think given that the applicant is agreeing to do a restrictive deck, I would be comfortable with a condition and putting it in the restrictive deck that applicant get the drainage plan approved by DEP and install the appropriate DEP approved drainage dry well system on this site.
Okay, let's see what happens.
I wouldn't,
Go ahead.
but regarding leaving it to the DEB, to the DOB, I wouldn't do that. Look, we're one city. We're not, yes, we're different agencies, but we're one city. And if we get something like that, if you want to do it that way, they should take the drainage plan off and not submit it to us. And they submit from scratch to the DOB. But if I see something like this, and I say, okay, somebody else is gonna look at it, I do not like work that way. And I'm not sure if this is the right way to do it. But if there is something incorrect, it need to be corrected if it's gonna be kept in record with this agency.
I think we do see situations where we put notes saying to be approved, to be reviewed by DEP. We can put a lot of notes which indicates that this is not the finally approved plan, and that we can, I mean, it's okay to have it removed and say drainage plan to be approved and installed accordingly per DEP approved plan, and that would be okay too. But
Yes.
we have done it. We have done it in many cases where we, don't have the details.
I think the issue really is this, if I'm not mistaken, this is still a site to be developed, right? So it's not like the other one already operating. So this
has been improved. They actually made all the improvements.
All the improvements.
Yeah, they have made all the improvements on this site.
We've been at this so long, so that's kind of the problem is, this is the reality. If the improvements are already made, it means the dry wells and the drains are already in place. It means, therefore, that unless we use our own leverage, there's no motivation whatsoever to correct this. And so here it is, a rainy day, it's supposed to rain the whole day. Is there ponding or isn't there ponding? What is the overflow? The reality is that once work is done, we know from our own experience that the work does not get corrected unless there's some sort of a compliance hearing or bring them back for something or other. Just conditional approval means do nothing, because that's what we see. It'd be different if this was new construction like it started off being, and where we could say, change your drainage plan, get a drainage engineer to correct the drawings, right? And then moving forward, you follow the drawings. But what are we supposed to do now if the drainage is inadequate? I would say that they can demonstrate that the drainage is adequate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So far, they've shown a site plan, a survey that's not persuasive, and calculations that are not persuasive. And so it looks like, it looks like it's running into either Northern Boulevard or off-site, which is not, it's just not allowed. And I'm not aware that, and it seems as if you can do these drainage plans without getting approval from DEP, which is quite surprising to me. So go ahead, Commissioner Shaitan.
Sure. I'm not saying that drainage is inadequate. And I want to say that it's not uncommon that when an applicant submit to an agency, that agency takes the drawings and consider that they're gonna be approved and reviewed by somebody else. But if you see something that's, from my perspective, is clear, probably, again, I want to make it crystal clear, probably I'm incorrect. But if you see something that you believe is alerting, I wouldn't let it go to somebody else and then he catch it. And then when something happens, oh, it went to BSA. That's not the way it should be done. What I'm saying on this side is I didn't even question the calculations. What I'm saying is, number one, that language looks like weird. When I ask a kid, what is 2 by 4? And he picks the calculator, it's my conclusion that this kid is not good at math. It doesn't need much thinking to conclude that. When I look at a drawing that the engineer is saying that the discharge for the fourth time is gonna be measured in square foot, I have to be suspicious. This is and I'm just suspicious about the calculation. I didn't even ask them to correct it. I said correct the terminology. And the second thing, when they submitted the spot elevations, and I looked at them, I don't want to waste your time because I'm gonna do it when they are here. But I did work on this plan for like 2 hours to look at the elevations and put that directions for the drainage. And I concluded, and again, I might be wrong, I concluded that there is ponding and much of the site is shedding water, sending water to the bed of the street. This is not the way it should be done. If they have good responses to us, I'm gonna take them and they are done. But if they do not, they need to correct it. If we wanna take these plans and say it's gonna be reviewed by somebody else, take the drainage plans out. I don't wanna see them. I believe this is fair enough.
Right, yeah.
I just want to bring this to, I mean, when we approved it on July 24th, 2018, we granted them on the condition of 1-year term with the condition that they make the improvements as per the approved drawings that we had approved, and they made all the improvements based on that. And so.
But did we have a drainage plan?
Whatever plan that was approved.
We were under the impression that they are going to the DOP, and they said that before. Remember when I questioned these plans first time, the applicant mentioned that these plans went to the DEP and they were approved by DEP. And then in the subsequent submission, oh, no. They weren't submitted, they weren't approved. If something is getting submitted to the DUB, it's getting reviewed by the DEP, and I have to take, if DEP stamped and approved these drawings, I wouldn't even talk about them, just file them. They were approved by somebody else.
I'm just looking at the previously approved drawing.
Well,
There weren't.
Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
This is an extension of term that
Yeah.
I agree with Vice Chair that we kept them on a short leash to ensure that they would redevelop this site according to plans. And while I understand that Commissioner Shetta has some valid concerns, given that we are in a very recessed economy right now, I'm concerned about making the situation too onerous for a property owner at this point in time to be able to comply, because ultimately we do want to see the site developed and we do want to see the site active and working and operating in a way that's consistent with what they actually built there. So while I'm not minimizing what Commissioner Shetta says, I'm suggesting that we make this a condition of grant because they have, you know, aside from the landscaping issue, pretty much proceeded in good faith according to the instructions that we gave them at the end of the 1-year extension that we approved.
Okay, so let's wait until we hear from them. I'm looking at the drawings that were approved in 2018. They don't show drainage.
Yeah.
They don't really show anything to do with drainage. The other thing is the planter box, just because we're talking about consistency, showed that planted with soil on a plant. And, you know, and so they submitted new drawings. That's part of the issue. When you submit completely new drawings and then you sort of change the deal, then we're looking at new drawings. That's
no, I fully understand, and I'm not minimizing what Commissioner Shetta said. I'm just trying to look at the big picture in this,
right.
and state that they really did fulfill our conditions when we gave them that 1-year extension to develop.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Understood.
That's all I'm stating, and I just think we should give a little weight to that. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? So we can move on? Okay, thanks.
Item number 18, 334 78 BZ, 23320 Northern Boulevard, Queens.
Okay, there were again 3 submission dates on this one, November 12th, 16th, and 23rd. As with the prior application, the surveyor provided drainage locations and elevations. Again, on this one, we didn't have that information on the prior submission, along with a certification stating the elevations indicate drainage will flow from the corner of the site to the drains. The plans now indicate the number of spaces devoted to repair versus sales, which is what we wanted. And the restricted declaration was amended to reflect the number of spaces for each use and separation from the adjacent property. And again, the restrictive deck would have to be recorded prior to our releasing our resolution, assuming the board votes on to approve. And also I want to note that there's an operations plan on page 5 of the statement of facts, which should be incorporated into the resolution. Okay, Vice Chair Shanda.
I had no additional comments with this. I'm fine with the submission.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
No additional comments.
Commissioner Sheta.
Thank you, Chair. I have very similar comments, but they still have ponding at 2 points inside the site, and portion of the site is draining to the street. So very similar comments to the other one. I believe if the designer is the same, if we're done with one, we're going to be done with the other.
Okay, and Commissioner Shabeta.
Nothing further from me, Chair.
Okay, thanks.
Item number 19, 90-91 BZ, 630 636 City Island, the Bronx, City Island Avenue, the Bronx.
Okay. Our instructions at the last hearing were to provide an existing site plan so that we could take it from there when determining the depth and details of the planting beds, which was really what was left in discussion. We discussed the required curbs and wheel stops, and also that the planting beds need to be deep enough vertically and horizontally to support the tree balls. We said that we would look at the existing conditions and decide what changes need to be made. That's what the discussion was at the last hearing, because this is a site where the owner had sort of oddly dug up kind of holes and left the rubble and planted little bitty bushes. And we said that it needs to be done properly. The as-built site plan shows only 2-foot front to back deep planting beds, which are not deep enough to support planting that requires a minimum of 4 feet to support dense buffering. And a reminder, as was pointed out by Commissioner Otley Brown at the last hearing, that the previous approval, of which this is an extension, required the landscaping that was never installed in 4-foot deep planting beds planted with shrubs at least 8 feet high at time of planting. So, you know, I feel like the submission and kind of the testimony from the owner and so on is having us lose focus with the fact that this is an extension of time and or an extension of time or extension of term, right? Term, right, an extension of term, and that the terms of the prior grant were to have this thing that was never built. And then the owner kind of, I don't know, clouding the issue by not doing it at all, and then doing it in this very haphazard way, and then begging for relief. I don't want to lose sight of the reality that, for one, life is not always going to look like it does today. This is a special approval to have a commercial use in a residence district. This backs up right against residences. And the original approval was create a dense buffer. And the reason we said 8 feet trees at the time of planting was because we really did want a dense buffer. And instead we're getting little pathetic, I don't know what shrubs that, you know, seem like they came off the discount truck. So I just don't feel any more need to keep sort of negotiating. I just think we should stick with our original direction and make them do it. That's my feeling. Anyway, Vice Chair Shanda?
I've nothing to add.
Okay, Commissioner Holly Brown?
I agree with you here, Chair, and I feel that the fact that it took so long for them to install landscaping means that they got a free ride for quite a few years and enjoyed having a variance. So this is a case where, that's why I said my other comments applied very narrowly. This is a case here where landscaping buffer that is of 8 feet at planting is really important in order to shield the surrounding sites from the commercial activity on this site.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And Commissioner Sheta?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I believe in light of the fact that the applicant was here last hearing and he was like assuring us that the planting bed is 3 to 4 feet wide. And I recall that I mentioned something 18 inch to 2 feet wide based on the pictures he submitted during the last hearing. I believe we should just stick with whatever was approved before and just have him do it.
Okay. Commissioner Shibata, thank you.
I agree with my colleagues. I think that the only thing I would add is that we need to have some sort of timeline for their compliance.
Right.
And I think that the tighter we make that timeline, as Commissioner Holly Brown said again, they've had the benefit of this variance without doing what they needed to do. I don't think we should let them have that for much longer.
Right. So, you know, there's the reality that we always get kind of backed up against season. It's November. Today you could plant if you could work in the rain, but maybe it's not such a good thing. You're supposed to have planted by October. So the next planting season is March, April. So that's when we should have compliance by. They can certainly prepare the beds now, but you don't plant trees when there's going to be a freeze in a minute. So
I would ask that we put it on for the next planting season and as a last hearing date and see if they comply.
mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you.
Item number 20, 11407BZ, 7-05, 152nd Street, Queens.
Bubbled plans with annotations were provided. Again, our project managers and the applicants and their architects really must note that it's not at all helpful to bubble the entire drawing. The bubble should reflect the specific changes. For example, on the set submitted on November 25th, there is zero discernible difference between the existing first floor plan on that date and the one submitted on October 1st. So why was the entire plan bubbled, I ask? The bubbles are intended to show, and this is to clarify what they're for, to show the difference between the last reviewed plan set and the most recent one. And the purpose is to assist the board in evaluating the changes since the last hearing, not since the very beginning of the submissions, since, you know, that were started a year ago, that kind of thing. It's just between hearings that we want to see the difference in the drawings. Applicants' counsel must look out for this before submitting the materials, and our project managers should look out for this prior to accepting them for submission, because it really, what it ends up doing is, that's one reason you're seeing so many submissions in the folders, is because our project managers are noticing either it's not bubbled or it's improperly bubbled. And so we're asking them to submit it over again. And it makes a very confusing review because we don't know which is the last and so on. And they don't void out the last ones, which they should really be doing. There have been inconsistencies in the floor area that I believe were corrected in the November 25th submission. the drawing now, there's a drawing that now shows fire department roof access routes. So we need fire department to review and give us their comments on that. They're still don't on the proposed site plan A03 indicate the no parking signs, which we had asked for. They're shown on the existing drawings, but not on the proposed. And an operations plan is described in the statement of facts in terms of pickups and so on. And I just wasn't sure whether DOT had seen it. I believe we have. In terms of seeker, we have open noise. Open DEP actually wanted to discuss the protocol, I guess, with BSA staff. And of course, Tracy, please jump in. And then, yeah, why don't you finish that off?
Sure. Yes, the noise protocol was submitted that accounted for the playgrounds because they weren't previously accounted for. However, DEP had some concerns because the way seeker works, since this is an amendment, there's different thresholds. If the playgrounds were built with the first school, then it's treated differently. So the applicant and DEP and BSA spoke, and the consultant might ask for some feedback from the board today, I'm not sure, or give us different options of how to move forward with studying the noise protocol. And yes, DOT did review the tech memo. We were just waiting for the final square footages to be permanent for their approval.
Okay. And then you also had, I guess that's the same question. You had a call on the 19th about, that's again the noise protocol, is that right?
Yes, it's the same.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, Vice Chair Shanda.
Okay, thank you. I reviewed the plans and I had a couple of questions with regards to the plan. First of all, with regards to the rooftop access on the third floor, I didn't see anything in file that indicates that FDNY is okay with that rooftop access. The other one is in the proposed plan, the fence heights on the second floor, third floor. I think on the third floor, the fence height may have been indicated. I'm just looking at it. Just give me a second. No, so the proposed fence site on the third floor and the existing fence site on the second floor and first floor around the play area need to be shown in the proposed plan and also in the elevation, and needs to indicate the proposed height of these fences. So if you look at the existing plan, it does show that the second floor has a fence, which is a chain link fence 10 foot high, but that's not carried over into the proposed plan. Similarly, some of the existing heights and other conditions that are there with regards to noise, those need to be carried over into the proposed plan and also shown in the elevation. So those were my comments. Otherwise, I have nothing further to add.
Okay. Commissioner Otley Brown.
I read through the operations plan and I feel confident that it will allow this site to operate smoothly, even with the increased student body, without disturbing the neighbors around them. That plus the fact that the community board did give its approval to this case, and this is a pretty active community board. So if there were problems with loading and unloading and parents parking every which way, we would have definitely heard about it through the community board report. So I'm fine with the increase in student body. I had just one question on the plans. It notes the trash room and it gives us the calculation of trash generated per student, which is fine, but they don't specify that it's a refrigerated trash room.
Right.
And so they should specify that it is going to be a refrigerated trash room.
Okay. I had just to pick up on that, as I did have a question about I believe they're adding lower, small kids in strollers, and I guess it would be stroller level. So this is not a daycare, but usually daycare, we ask, where do you put all the strollers? And they don't seem to have any place to store that. And so that's a question for me, like, and there's room in the basement, it seems, to put it, so.
Also, the lobby is pretty generous, given that it's going to be only for the school itself. I think there is room in the lobby to accommodate the strollers also.
So lobbies are fire egress, so unless they actually create a solar storage zone that keeps the fire egress route clear, you can't put it in the lobby.
Right, okay, fair enough.
They could explore putting hangers along the walls.
Right, okay. Okay, Commissioner Sheta?
Thank you, Chair. Nothing further from me.
Commissioner Shabeta?
The only thing I'd like to add is that on the last date, the FDNY, I believe they commented that there wasn't roof access, or they weren't improving roof access, and I wonder if anything's changed. I want to hear FDNY's position on.
So but there was a plan submitted that shows this route. I don't know if that, and fire department hasn't reviewed it yet, so we don't know if they're okay. Okay, thanks. That's it.
Anything else? That's it? Okay. This concludes the public review session. We are now commenced with the public hearing.
Oh, but just a question, did we get the updated yet? No. So let me know when we get that plan.
That's okay. We are now in the public hearing, November 30th, 2020, 10 a.m. session. So the first item is number 17, 55137BZ, 23302 Northern Boulevard, Queens.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. It was, I don't know about you, but the fact that my in-laws were not in my house for the first time ever made it very relaxing.
This is the public hearing, Mr. Palatnik. That could get broadcast far.
I'm joking. I love my in-laws. I hope you all had a pleasant time.
Is Ms. Folder joining us?
She is, but we're going to ask for an adjournment if we can. Not adjournment, but a second call, just because we have one more person joining us. That we hope.
Which
wait. What?
We're just going to ask. We'll ask for a second call for this, if we may. We just have one more person joining us. It's not available. Yeah, they should be available, hopefully, by second call. If not, we'll proceed after the second call, if we may.
Okay, so do you want to do second call on the second case also?
No, the second, yes, on the 233s, yes, please.
2 cases, all right.
And then hopefully, if they're not available, then we'll take it.
Who are you waiting for? Because there's a bunch of people in our waiting room here.
It's somebody that is familiar with the site. I don't know his name, but they said that he should be being made available. So
shouldn't you find out the name? The person may already be there.
Yeah, no, they were trying to dial in. So somebody was going to tell me who it was going to be. I haven't got. So if you just give us maybe 10 minutes on that, hopefully they'll be available.
If you're on second call, you're going to be waiting for other applications, right?
We have O'Sullivan anyway, which is, 152nd Street, which is last anyway. So we're the last case in the morning, so you can call us.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. I apologize.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay, Tony.
So we're calling 18 anyway?
We're going to go to
19?
Sorry, I don't even know what number.
I'm sorry, 9091, the City Island?
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to 9091.
Okay. So taking out a turn,
You need to announce 33478BZ as a second call because otherwise.
Okay. Item number 18, 3347878BZ, 23320 Northern Boulevard, Queens, will be moved to for a second call. Item number 19, 9091BZ, 630-636 City Island Avenue, the Bronx.
Okay.
Amanda, who was, is John Chiafoni with you?
Yes, yes, John.
Okay, could you please unmute yourself, Mr. Chiafoni?
Okay,
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
yes,
Please state your name for the record and proceed.
Good morning, Amanda Ionati on behalf of the applicant. Heard the board's comments this morning. I think, John, if you would like to address the board, we will likely return to the site plan that was approved in the fall of last year, showing the 4-foot planting beds. John, if you would just like to address the board on their comments this morning.
yes.
Please state your name. Please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please state your
Okay.
name for the record and your affiliation.
Good morning, everybody, both commissioners and council. My name is John J. Chiafone. I'm the owner of 636 City Island Avenue, the Bronx. I'd like to just touch upon some of the comments of the commissioners I heard, particularly Commissioner Shabeta. You know, I took the property over from the prior owner who had received this grant of allowing for commercial stores in a residential district. And you are correct. That particular owner didn't do anything in terms of shrubbery or trees or anything of the nature. When I took it over, I had to break concrete. I remember one of the commissioners said, you know, you didn't have to use a jackhammer, you could use a saw. He is correct. So we had to break, you know, we did things. I just want Commissioner Shabeta and all the other commissioners to understand that I'm the number 2 person there, and I've taken some action, although not to the satisfaction of the commission there, understood. And we will try to appease your requests and satisfy them. But understand, we're not looking to delay anything. And in fact, I think you do all understand in this economy, particularly where this property consists mainly of stores and 2 residential units, but mainly commercial stores. In this economic climate, not paying rent, it's a major problem. It's not a defense. I'm not asking, you know, to give me, you know, I'm not playing a fiddle here, but I want you to understand, I do want you to give me the adequate amount of time and not give me a, you know, let's, you know, give me till April to see what's done. You've got to understand, please, that we did the best we could on our end. We planted the shrubbery. We got the shrubbery. I know it's not to the satisfaction. You want 8 feet shrubbery. We have almost everything else. We have the car stoppers.
Sorry,
And
so
in fact, if you remember, I went beyond what I had to do. Unfortunately, it cost me more money. I broke into the driveway. I put planters in the driveway. I did additional planting and work in the premises, which I didn't need to, according to the original plans. I didn't understand that. So it was to my detriment. But please, afford me the opportunity to fulfill your requests. And I appreciate the planning time. Correct, Commissioner. Now's not the planning time. It would start sometime in the spring. Thank you all.
right, so I'm trying to understand. So we said that if planting season really is March, April, if you go too much further than that, it's no longer good planting. That's really when the plants have to be installed, but the prep work can be done as long as you don't have a freeze cycle, right? You can be cutting the concrete and pouring the curbs, preparing the beds for soil receival. I'm kind of assuming you don't put the soil in because it freezes and then makes it hard to work with. But that kind of work can be done. So if you kind of work in stages, the sort of economic hit is less because you're working slowly through, beginning immediately. to do the right thing. So I'm not really sure when you say, give me time, I'm looking at a submission of photographs showing it was installed by, say, May, which means you had March and April to do the work, which means you're starting to bid out contracts now. And to have it done properly, as we discussed at the last hearing, cheap is really expensive, as you're learning. And had it been professionals who do this all the time, you probably would have been done by now, matching the drawings. So, okay. Anybody else want to add anything? So that's kind of what I'm talking about. Ms. Iannotti, did you want to say? You're muted, even though I don't see you being.
Sorry,
muted.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. John, are you all right with a next hearing in May or photos being submitted?
Yes, but
Really?
again, I would ask the commissioners to give me the time. Who knows what's going to happen? We didn't all predict the current situation we're in, but don't, give me the opportunity to comply with your demands. Don't give me a strict timeline because.
No.
Again,
We are. Actually, I'm sorry. We are giving you a strict timeline. Here it is November, or it's the end, let's say beginning of December, right? So you have from December until March and April to bid out the contract. And in addition to which, find people to do the concrete work, which can be started arguably now because it's still mild. And that's for them they can certainly do the cutting, whether they do the actual pouring of the curbs, right? And then you have March and April to install the soil and install the trees. So the answer is that the photos in May show a completed job. So we are giving you a strict timeline. That's the whole point. Otherwise, this will go on and on and on, and we will never finish. And the board is, I appreciate that you bought this from someone who didn't do what they were supposed to do, but you bought a special opportunity to have commercial in a residence district. And as we've talked about in prior hearings, your option is to return this to a residential use or a community facility use. And then you don't need to be with the BSA ever again. You could wave, say, Happy New Year and move on. But that's the way it is for as long as you have commercial use at the site. Okay.
Okay, I think we understand. We'll work with the project architect and get these improvements done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
all right, thank you, everybody. Have a good holiday and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. You as well.
Item number 20, 11407BZ, 7-05, 152nd Street, Queens. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
The public.
I'm sorry. Public testimony. I'm sorry, correct.
Public testimony on City Island Avenue, 9091 BZ, 630 to 636 City Island Avenue in the Bronx. If you'd like to speak on this. We have a number of phone calls, right, Kurt? Phone numbers where we don't know who those people are. So if you would like to speak on this, you dial *6 on your phone number and it raises
*9.
Sorry, *9 on your phone number, on your phone. And that raises your hand. And if there's anybody else, there's other names in the Zoom hearing. If you would like to speak on this application, please raise your Zoom hand. Okay. All right. So we set a timeline already on City Island Avenue, so it'll be a May. Okay.
Now move on, Madam Chair.
Yes. Thanks.
Thank you, Kurt. Sorry. Item number 20, 11407BZ, 7-05, 152nd Street, Queens.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, and it's Eric Palatnik also. How are you?
Okay.
Happy New Year. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Happy New Year. I heard New Year a second ago. So we attended your review session.
Raise your right hands.
Sworn in.
Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
I do.
Go.
We want to thank you very much for reviewing everything for us. It's exciting to get the daycare, to get the school into place. We're here today because we heard your review session and we wanted to respond to you. The first thing we heard is about the fire department, and we wanted to let you know that the fire department does in fact have a copy of our last set of submitted plans. We've communicated with them, and we believe that we are led to believe that it should meet with their satisfaction, but we haven't heard back from them yet. So we would hope that would be the case, and we'll let them testify to that. With respect to the Department of Environmental Protection, as you heard a moment ago with from your seeker examiner, in fact, it is being reviewed with DEP and with Kevin Williams of Equity Environmental right now. So we hope to be okay with all of their concerns and to address that. We did hear your comments with respect to stroller storage. Again, I'll say it is difficult in between a review session and a hearing to get you answers quickly because there's no time. So we don't know if they have stroller storage de facto that they've been using or how many strollers they have that come daily. But I'm here to tell you, we will provide ample stroller parking, and it won't be in an egress zone. There is a lot of space, as Madam Chair mentioned, at the cellar.
Okay, but so to speak, since well, we have open environmental, so we couldn't close anyway if we wanted to.
Right.
But just to make it faster, just show on the drawings how you handle stroller storage and
We
show
will.
on the drawings refrigerated trash storage, because that's you build out, I guess.
Refrigerated cells, it will show that, and we'll show the fencing the way that the vice chair had discussed and suggested to carry through on the plans. So we heard all the comments that were made. We'll do all those suggestions. And then it is being reviewed right now by DEP. We will include the notes for the street signage as you suggested. And I know that Hiram's Rothkrug's Office of Environmental Project Data Statements has been communicating with DOT. And when we make our next submission, we'll give you the final status of that. I know there's a question as to DOT.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions from commissioners or Ms. Benke? Anything you wanted to add?
No, I think we'll be getting the new noise proposal from Kevin, and we'll review that and work to see, because DEP did need BSA feedback. So I was hoping to know what that feedback was right now. But
yeah, and Tracy's been fantastic. Thank you. She's injected herself in the middle of interagencies during COVID. So thank you. She's been very helpful.
We know she's fantastic, and thank you for saying that and underscoring what we know.
thank you, everyone.
You're welcome.
So what I wanted to know, though, is you were hoping to get direction from the board about the protocol. Is there a specific question that could be answered?
There were going to be a few options about the noise protocol. I didn't want to misspeak for Kevin because he was going to lay out the options. One of the issues was that the playgrounds that exist, they actually, you have to take into consideration the noise from the existing playgrounds on the existing school. So would the board be okay with them being treated like it was a new construction? Like, for instance, it's hard for me to explain without written. We'll work on it. I
So I
don't
know
want to
that we
misspeak.
discussed the last time, and we said, well, under normal circumstances, because you have existing playgrounds, you would be monitoring the noise from the existing playgrounds and then model in the new, right? But I guess there's nobody at the existing playgrounds or a limited number of kids. You can't really model it. So it seems like you need to model it as if new, because we don't have, and in the study, you make special note that the reason we're making an exception here is because of current emergency conditions, so that, as Commissioner Otley Brown mentioned earlier, no one says, hey, look at what you did on the other one. I should be able to do that too. You can model it even though there's an existing condition. Only during an emergency can you model it. And only if, and only if conditions are not typical during that emergency situation. Like if that were a crowded play area because all the kids are back in full swing, then you would have to take on field measurements, right?
Right. Okay.
Commissioner, did you want to add something?
Yeah, actually, this is one of the points that I thought about during my review for the protocol, and I didn't want to like provide input before I see feedback from the DP. But my concern was what they call it, the reference value. What is the reference for this? What is the typical value they could use? And I understand that every play area would be unique depending on the conditions surrounding this play area, in addition to the number of kids. And I was thinking whether the environmental engineer could provide us with some guidelines or some additional protocol, I would say, on how to estimate this reference value based on previously monitored play areas somewhere else. So let's say they looked at a school somewhere else where the number of kids were 50 kids or 60 kids. Can they extrapolate based on the conditions at this previously looked at play area and obtain a reference value for the subject side? And if the answer is yes, how? And provide this additional protocol in writing so we can look at it and DOP can look at it, because I believe with the current circumstances, it might be very tough to get to the start point. My understanding is they want to take the existing and the projected play areas and then look at the impact from these two areas on possible receptors like the neighbors or whatever. The issue here is you don't have a starting point. You don't know what kind of noise level these two play areas would be generating. And that's why I was curious, but because I'm not an environmental engineer, I said, let me wait until I see some flying opinions and then jump in. But if
there are
they are
existing
looking,
studies that, sorry. There are existing studies that they could reference.
They have they have an existing study for the previous area, right?
I'm not sure. No, they don't have it for the previous area, but there are existing studies in general that based on numerous playgrounds that have been studied that usually the consultants reference.
But it might be with different number of kids.
You can, there is an equation which calculates the number of kids as well that could be used.
And it's age specific because littlest kids are noisier than the next level of kids because of the right? So yeah, okay.
So okay.
So we're waiting. So, but in terms of direction, I don't have a problem with it being modeled because we don't have any option. It seems to have conditions.
I think the main issue, the board is concerned with the surrounding receptors. But one of the things they also have to take into account now is because it's considered an extension, they just have to show that the playgrounds aren't affecting the existing school either. So that's that's what the protocol didn't take into consideration because they're focusing on the surrounding receptors, not the school itself that exists being a receptor. So you have to show that the windows and the walls that exist also will keep out the noise from the existing playground.
So that's just a modification in what they were pursuing before. That's not a new, that's just adding to the study. It's not really a new protocol, right? It's like expanding on the scope of the study.
Right.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? Can we, I don't know whether fire department, whether Chief Daly's had a chance to look at the drawings in terms of the roof access. If yes, please speak up.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Yes, I did have an opportunity to review the plans, and my confusion, we do not need fire department access to a playground in the rear of the building. So we are okay with the plans, and we'll be submitting our letter of no objection. Thank you.
And so you're okay with the escape route that's shown, the architect provided a route of fire department access on the roof?
Yes, ma'am, I am. We are.
Okay. All right, great, thank you. So then I guess.
So just to confirm, we're okay with the latest square footages that were submitted, because then we could have them update the tech memo. And I believe that's the only thing DOT was waiting for in the tech memo.
I think so, yeah. So we did get, my understanding is that the inconsistencies were corrected in the November 25th submission, which show if there's a chart of previously approved and proposed floor area, which appears on both the drawings and in the statement of facts. And the previously approved plans match with the actual previously approved plans. Or if it's different, it's off by like a 0.03 or something, so nothing.
Okay. So we could use that submission to update the tech memo if necessary.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else? Anybody? No? Okay, so we can go to the public.
This application is 11407BZ, 7-05, 152nd Street, Queens. You wish to speak, it's call in 646-558-8656. ID number is 927-626-6206-4871. And if you have Zoom, you're in Zoom, it's *9.
No, Zoom, you just raise your hand.
*9, right?
So, no. So if you raise your hand, if you're already a Zoom participant, if you're a telephone caller and your phone number is in, then it's *9 to raise your hand. So give that, so then Mr. Palatnik, Ms. Fullader, how much time to respond? And I guess from Ms. Benke, how much time do you think we need for turnaround from environmental?
At least 30 days once we get the submission.
Okay.
And we might need another call. So I would add some time.
So is 2 months too much?
Maybe we're trying to get the kids in. Maybe if you can, maybe just make it in the earlier part of January, and the hope that maybe we score some traction, because everybody has been fantastic in communicating.
I don't know if we can do that, but okay.
Mid-January.
So mid-January, then let's just do this 30 days. 30 days gets us to January. Then there's no kind of turnaround, right? So mid-January, it's, one thing when it's
Okay. I'm okay. End of January.
End of January.
I just didn't want to go into February.
All right. All right, I don't think we had anybody raising their hands in our waiting room. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so now we're going to go back to item number 17, 55137BZ, 23302 Northern Boulevard, Queens. Second call item.
Is the person that you wanted to have here here?
Yeah, they submitted their photographs to me, so I have what I needed to show you.
Yeah, you just got us, apologies for a last minute submission, but you just got a submission for discussion right now.
Okay.
But I could show it on the screen. It doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
But I'm not sworn in yet.
No, you're not. Tony?
Raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth? Where's your other party? Is Larry Haynes and Jericho King with you?
Cherico, Larry, Elise, Todd
Yes.
Dale. Are you on the phone, Todd Dale?
I'm texting him.
Let him sign in when he gets a minute as an eyewitness.
Yeah,
Who's that?
Jericho King.
Cherico, welcome to the party.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Haynes,
Larry Haynes.
please unmute yourself so we can move this along, please. Thank you.
Did Larry
Do you
make
wanna-
it? Did Larry make it on?
Is that the person that you're waiting for?
Larry Haynes is one of the people that's testifying.
Yeah, he's on, but you have to unmute yourself, Mr. Haynes.
You muted yourself.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Larry.
Okay, and Mr. Dale, are you unmuting, please?
I am here.
Okay, everyone, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board, and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
Yeah.
Affirm.
Please
affirm.
proceed. State your names for the record and proceed.
Hi, it's Eric Palatnik. I want to thank you very much for taking the time to hear us. And again, I want to wish publicly on the record everybody a great Thanksgiving. And I hope you had as relaxing a time as I did. And I won't repeat why mine was so relaxing. The reason we're here today is to talk about Northern Boulevard. We attended your review session and we have some responses for you. Again, I would just like to point out to the board, and I'm not criticizing, you're doing a great job. Having the review session immediately after gives us very little time to respond to you in a meaningful way, but we did. And that's why we asked for the delay. So we apologize, but hopefully it'll save time. I heard a lot of concern that we might not have been as responsive as we could have been, and I want to apologize for that. So the very first thing I want to do is set some people at ease. It's a very miserable day outside. Actually, it's in Long Island in Nassau County, about 2 miles from the site. It's pouring cats and dogs, and they're forecasting tornadoes and for a lot of rain. And it just downpoured while you're during a review session, about 4 inches or 3 inches, quite possibly the heaviest I've seen, enough that it's ponding in front of my home. But we had Todd Dale go to the property, and Todd Dale, who's a well-known figure before this board, took a look at the property. And of all the concerns, you could see the drainage, and he took photos, and you have these. And he showed that not only is it not ponding on the site, but it's also not rolling into the street.
So wait a second, slow down, because the only way commissioners are going to be able to see this is if you if each commissioner changes their view to speaker view, because we thought you could do a screen share, but actually what you're doing is just holding your camera in front of you.
Yeah, I thought that would be quicker, and we could submit it later. But what we're showing the board.
Just a second, let me so commissioners, please switch in your upper right-hand corner, your view to speaker view, so you'll be able to see when Mr. Palatnik speaks, what the images are, okay? Okay, go ahead.
Would you like me to share the screen?
No, let's just leave it, Elise. I got it covered for right now.
Got it
So
covered.
what we're showing you right now, right here, is the portion of the site heading easterly direction along Northern Boulevard, where it was alleged that the concern was that the water may be running into the street. It is not. As you can see, it's a separated site, as you asked for in your restricted declaration. The fence that you see next door and the dumpster and the dirt is the car lot next door.
So I have to interrupt you again.
Yeah.
We cannot see these photographs. We see most.
But it's not raining right now. I don't see rain.
It just finished raining in Long Island. I'll give you a certified weather report telling you how much it rained in the last hour. It rained so much that it's ponding in front of my house. I could take you over and show you the ponding that's going on in an area that does not drain well. And I could show you the difference right now.
No. Please don't show us your house. Please don't do that.
No, I just want to show that the commissioner's raising the question.
I don't want to see a picture of what it's doing outside your house because it's irrelevant to the photographs.
Well, I'm trying to demonstrate for the court. I'm trying to
Why
testify.
don't you show us your survey?
You can't keep doing this. I'm giving you an instruction. We want to share the photograph, so a screen share, so that we can see it, because basically all we could see is your top menu bar and a little bit of the photograph. So the technology doesn't work like that, okay? So Ms. Fullader, if you have access to these photos, and you know how to—
Also, Tony, I'm not sure if you got it, but I did submit these photos.
Yeah, we just got it.
Maybe you can forward them to all the commissioners so they can have them up on
Yeah, I'm
there.
just doing it now.
Okay, so while that's being done, I wanted to give everybody, because I don't want to waste your time. I know the concern is that it's going to flood and it's going to cause a problem, as the commissioner said, but it's not, and it's beautiful. And the other thing about it that you should know is I wanted to correct the record. The site.
I just sent it.
The site was described during review session as being a new site. It's not a new site. The site is in fact an existing site that's been a subject of board review for the better part of the last decade. It's been a rather cumbersome, ugly site called Reds. That was really nobody liked the way it looked. It had old abandoned cars out front and everything. You gave us an approval a year ago, and you gave us a year and a half ago, and you gave us a term. And the reason we're back was because you gave us a very unique term. You were very concerned that we weren't going to build what you said, as nice as we said, like I just showed you in the photos. And you wanted to make sure that they did it. So they went and they endeavored and they did it. And the landscaping that you've been speaking about is shown on the previously approved plans from 2018, exactly on top of the fit, with the fence described just as is said here, with that special terminology you asked about, with the landscaping exactly in the same exact spots. And if you allow me to show you my screen, or we could submit the previously approved plans, it shows that. It also shows you the existing building, which is not a new building, and all of the drainage, which is all previously in place. Community board, there are the photos. Thank you, Mr. Steinhaus. So the reason we came back was because the concern was that this place was such a junkyard under the previous owners, and Community Board 11 was so disgusted by its status that everybody came to testify to the board that you better make sure they clean it up beautifully and put stone mantles in it and put concrete pavement and make sure it drains and put lines in. And you better make sure they put the fencing in accordance with the BSA approved plans. And you better make sure they put the landscaping in accordance with the BSA approved plans. So the client went, endeavored, and did that. They spent the last year doing it. And now they voluntarily came back to you under the term to show you their work. Now that they're back, the questions are coming up, and I can understand the commissioner's question about it flooding. Listen, he's an engineer, and I understand that he's got an eye towards that. The site's not a problem. It's not flooding. We have an architect on the phone and a surveyor.
Why don't we let the people who are specialists in this subject, instead of you going on about this, because it's actually pretty annoying to hear you insist that it's not flooding when this is not your specialty. Because I'm actually looking at a slope site that slopes to Northern Boulevard.
Of course. Yeah. So I just wanted to give you eyewitness testimony.
Last I looked, whenever it's uphill, it flows downhill. It's just sort of the way it is. Okay. On one application we once had on 14th Street where the water flowed uphill. So
that would be unique.
Yes, indeed. So
Larry, you're up.
So I do want to say is whenever you send photos, careful what you send. Because now I'm seeing other problems in the site.
There's a drum.
I see a drum. I see a dumpster on the sidewalk. I see like a collapsing planting bed area with this retaining wall that looks like it's falling down. I don't know what that is. It may be the adjoining site, and then I see
the site is not open. The site is not finished yet.
All right.
We're not open. It's closed. He's got cars parked there. He's not done with the work yet. All the work is in the middle of being done. We can't get a sign off at DOB until we get the sign off from you. And these are the finishing touches. You're seeing things lying around on the site because if you go to the other shots, you'll see the site is empty. It's not open. Look at the storefront.
You didn't give me a chance to finish my sentence. So there's a photo that shows the fence collapsed at the back. And storage of drums and things like that, but also a retaining wall up against the adjacent property.
Yes.
That seems to be collapsed with planting, with some kind of soil.
They're finishing that all up right now. That's the final. If you see the state of the site, what we're trying to show you, we're glass half full. What we're trying to show you is the work we've taken in the last year to try to finish everything up. We are not yet done. We're not open for business. We're not open for business. We have a couple of cars parked there because we're in the car business, and there's a parking lot that's beautiful, but we're not open for business. You could see there's a gate over the front of it. You could see the storefronts empty. We are not open. We're suffering in the pandemic. So I understand to look at it. You could say, look, there's a drum there, and look, it's half-assed. Look at how beautiful the building is, and if you pull up a screenshot of what it used to look like years ago, it's exactly what you asked us to do.
Okay, so just to point out, the photographs show the site not ready, so careful when you represent that everything is beautiful, because it isn't. And so I can't help but note those things.
I get it.
And the pictures also showed the side sloping towards Northern Boulevard.
Yes.
And if you look at your drainage plan, there is no single floor drain along northern sidewalk. All the drainage that comes in front of the store will drain to Northern Boulevard. And you could, actually, you didn't need to look at a photo. You could have looked at the survey and you could have concluded that, like I did. Let's listen to the engineer and to the architect or whoever you brought.
Larry's here, and he could speak to you right now and give you some assurances that the site is functioning the way that it should, and it's working great. And this owner's made a nice improvement and done exactly as you asked.
I'm ready to listen.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Larry Haynes. I'm a licensed land surveyor. I've been licensed since 1995. I was retained by the owner of the property to locate the existing drainage structures, to provide them with elevation information. And we did that on October the 21st of 2020, just a little over a month ago. We had originally surveyed the site in 2015. We did what we call an architectural type survey. We updated it in 2016. On January the 30th of 2019, which is almost 2 years ago, we did stake the entire property so that they were sure that the drainage structures, of course, were going to be installed within their property boundaries. Just back on October 21st, we did a location of all the drainage structures, provided the location of the 6 dry wells that were installed, and we provided elevations on the drains themselves and on the area surrounding the drains. And in the cover letter that
You provided spot elevations, Larry?
Yes, I did, sir.
The elevations you provided are spot elevations, right?
They are spot elevations generally on each and every one of the drains, on the building corners, and also on the property corners, to try to indicate that there is flow from those particular areas down to the drains. And that is the area that I am certifying to, that where the drains are, there is flow indicated to the drains. I have not been on site during a rainstorm, so I cannot certify to that. But all I can do is certify that based on the numbers in those areas that are shown, flow is indicated to those drains from the property.
Okay, let me ask you, are you familiar with site drainage?
No, I am not allowed. I am not permitted to design drainage under my license. That must be done by an engineer or an architect. All I am providing with the survey is the existence of the structures and the elevations. I cannot certify as to whether the system is functioning properly, because I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified to do that.
Did you check the grades you surveyed for possible ponding or possibly sending flow to Northern Boulevard?
No, sir, because as I indicated, I was not there. I have not been there during a substantial rainfall. All I can go by.
I wanna show you something. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna use this in a moment.
Okay.
Do you see that?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yes, I see that.
This is your survey. I just rotated it. but this is your survey with the grade elevations. Let me confirm my understanding. You see here, it says elevation 21. You see that?
Yes.
This is the grade elevation next to the building. Do I understand it right?
Let me see, 21.
Point
Yes.
again on the screen.
Yes, I'm pointing to it here. Do you see this where it says elevation 20.6 next to the floor drain?
20 point, let me look on my survey.
I haven't touched what you wrote. I
Which-
just
which-
want to
which
confirm
drain-
that
which
I
drain-
got it right.
Which drain are you referring to, sir?
This is the first floor drain to the right. Do you see, can you see my cursor or no?
Yes, I can. I'm looking directly at
Okay,
what you highlighted.
Yes, you see elevation 20.6?
On the right, on the easterlymost drain behind 23302, correct?
Here, do you see that red
20, yeah,
circle?
20.6, yes.
Yes, okay. This 20.6 is the grade elevation on top or next to that floor drain. Did I get it right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is not an invert elevation or something like that. This
No,
is
that
just
is the
grade elevation.
actual top of the grading, top of the drain grate. Those are what those elevations indicate. They're not an
This is
invert,
the
they're
way
not
I
an
understood
elevation
it.
down. They're not an elevation down to the pipe or to the bottom of the
Okay.
pipe. It is the actual top of the grate itself.
This is the way I got it. Who designed the drainage? Mr.
I have no-
Polarinik? I want to listen to the person who designed this drainage plan, please.
The site's 40 years old, Commissioner. It's been through the review at your agency for 3 decades. It's been at the community board for
Mr.
years.
Palatnik, please answer the question.
We don't know. The site's been there operating just like this for 40 years with no stated complaints.
No, actually, it's a new, all the concrete work is new. If you look at.
Not the drainage, not the drainage. They replaced the broken concrete.
Actually, Mr. Palatnik, that's incorrect. When I look at, and don't forget, you're a fact witness.
Right.
Only testify to what you know. When I look at the aerial photo, it happens to be of the site and the drains exposed, the catch basins exposed during construction. So the catch basins were installed somewhere in the last 2 years because the aerial imagery picked them up. So it's not,
Okay.
not a true statement.
Cherico, are you on the phone? You could give the information that's being asked. Can you please answer?
How you doing? Yeah. So we'll retain to do renovation of the building, also supersede this BSA case. So at the time when we came in, there was several existing what we call storm drains or the catch basins on site. And since we'll be repaving some of the open space in the back as well, mostly is in the back. So we propose to add 2 dry wells. And the dry well has to stay at least 5 feet from any of the property lines and also at least 10 feet to the building. We also indicated, because we don't know, we cannot control the height of the dry well or the drainage point, but we do have to indicate, which is indicated on our alteration 2 filing drawings, stating that after the calculations, all drain must be, or the entire site must be drained towards the catch basin as well as the dry well. And that's what we call, since it's an existing building, we don't really provide a drainage plan, but we do call out notes that this must be followed, that all storm drain must drain towards the catch basins, okay? And these drains, this is the dry well, it's for an existing building. They do not have to be filed with the DEP. You only file with the DEP when you have new connections to the street. And that's, the new, either the sewer connections or they call it SD1 and 2. That's when you file with the DEP.
Understood. I want to save your time. I totally understand. But you're the one who designed the dry wells. Am I correct?
Correct.
And you determined the size of the dry wells based on what?
Based on our calculations.
And what kind of like area, catchment area you considered in your calculations? The entire site or part
Yes.
of the entire
Uh,
site?
Correct.
Okay, so if part of the site is draining to like Northern Boulevard, you believe that this is not acceptable to you, right?
Well, I cannot control the final, elevations. We only, like I say,
I'm not saying,
we have the
no,
code
no, no,
out.
no, 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 please, please, please. I'm not saying you control anything. I'm saying you the one who did the design. When you designed, there is an equation that says CIA. You the one who wrote this, right?
I'm sorry, can you say it again?
On the drawing, on the drainage drawing, you, part of the calculations, there is an equation that gets the entire storm drainage discharge in terms of the area. It says Q, which is the discharge, equal constant times I times A. This is, I'm talking about drawing A-002.01 for one of the sites. And for the other site, this is T-003.03.
Okay, hold on 1 second. So on the drawing T003, and that's where we have calculations.
Yes.
And we have a
the
drywall
equation that
detail.
says, you see
And
at the detail, it says CIA. And the A here is the area of the entire site. Is that correct?
hold on 1 second. You say DIA?
T like cat, IA. Do you want me to share a screen with you?
So before we go on with parsing through the drawing, can we just see if there's a faster solution? Is it possible to install a trench drain along the property line?
Thank you. Thank you.
Can we just do that and show it on the
Yeah.
drawing? And that's a condition of approval, and the French drain should be able to do that, and it's not that big of a deal to dig one perforated. I guess you do it with perforated pipe. So why don't we just say that? We know from the photographs and from the survey that it's not doing its job on Northern Boulevard. So let's just fix it and then let's move on. And understood that maybe the calculations don't make sense because they're in square feet or something like that, right?
Yeah, and please fix this because it's painful to me. And since you were moving that fast, you have couple spots where you have ponding. 1 second. Yeah, here. I hope you're looking at that. First of all, this whole thing in the purple bounded lines, all this area, according to the elevations you submitted, are draining to Northern Boulevard. So this is kind of like 70% or 60% of the site area. It's not going to the dry wells. It's going to the catch basin, the public sewer. This is, as far as I understand, this is not the goal for your design. So that spot elevations provided does not actually satisfy the goal for the design.
Can I just a second, put that back on the screen, please? Share your
Sure.
screen, Mr. Commissioner. Can I ask that Mr. King
Yes.
take a photograph or a screenshot of what Commissioner Sheta is showing you? That way.
It's going to be on the YouTube. He can take a print screen from the YouTube.
Anyway, on YouTube or right now, it's easy. And so that way you have a record easily to understand what the commissioner is talking about and where the trench drains should be installed. And then we can be done with this, and you'll show it on the drawings to show slope towards the trench drains based on your site survey, okay? And if you need your site survey updated to include these elevations that are missing, because there's only, looks like only a couple are there. We need to update the.
Are you able to see me switching back between the two sites or just one side?
I can see it, yeah. I can see it in the way you circled in green, right?
Yes, for this side, at this spot here and this spot here. You see this elevation, it's 22.4. It's water is coming from here to here, and it's coming from here to here, and from here to here. This is ponding. Water is going to be ponding next to the building. That means you have a problem with the foundation of the building. You can damage the foundation of the building. Same thing here. Water is going that way, ponding here. You're going to be like sending water to the adjacent property. You need to take care of these things. And of course, you need to take care of this CIA, this charge that's measured in square foot.
So,
this charge is measured in volume per unit time. Thank you.
Hi, it's Eric Palatnik. I'm a little confused. I heard a couple different things. I heard the vice chair at the beginning say that it should all be subject to DEP like it's been in the past.
Mr.
Yeah.
Palatnik, you didn't hear any different things. Let's stay what we're talking about right now.
French drain?
Instruction. Based on the information that you're getting from Commissioner Tita, the drawings need to have trench drains. Show the drawings with trench drains. Then we know what needs to be installed, and that should be done. I'm not saying it has to be done right now. I'm saying it has to be done. It could be worked on right now, but it has to be done as part of our conditions, but we have to know what it is, right? Because right now, it's obviously not being taken care of, but if we show the drains on the drawings, then we know what needs to be done in order to solve these problems, and we don't just ignore the problems, okay?
Cherico, you haven't spoken about the trench drain. Do you want to give anybody your opinion?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
If the
I'm not negotiating this. I'm not negotiating this, right? So if trench drains are a solution, that's what we're doing. If it's not a solution, that's a different thing. So, right? Because it's the only thing I can think of.
That's what I was asking him.
Drain.
That's what I was asking him. If it's a solution, I haven't heard him say it's a solution yet.
Okay, point taken. So I will go back to the sites. If that particular drain Commissioner Sheda was talking about, if it's going to be a ponding, a problem, and I can, I don't know if it's true or not, but it doesn't matter. I will ask the owner, possibly, lower the drain. If we lower the drain.
There's no drain along Northern Boulevard. You have nothing to drain to along Northern Boulevard for the current design you submitted.
So you're saying we should add another drain? So you're saying we should add additional drain, you're saying, right?
Of course, because you have water going to there from 70% of the site. And in addition to that, I hope you listen to this. You have two spots next to the building, one next to the building and one next to the property line where water will be ponding near the elevations you submitted. Hopefully you got it.
Point taken, because we, like I said, we were hired to make improvement of the property, and there were insufficient number of drains on the sites, so we added a few. And if it's still not that we were more than happy, I will have the owner provide additional drains, and we will show the proper drainage on the site plan.
Okay, so show the drainage. If you choose to do trench drains or another kind of drain, it has to be a drain, and it has to be believable on the drawings with the elevations of the drains shown. Okay, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Ditto for the other site. Okay, that's the direction. Okay, all right. So just to be question, is that fence slatting a hedge link? Is that a brand name?
That's a brand name, yeah. I Googled it, and then that was one. It's been installed already. I don't know if you can see that on the picture that was previously submitted.
Okay, I just want you to change the drawing and make it clear that it's a brand name because it sounds not obvious, right?
Got it.
Also provide the height of the fence on the drawing, okay?
Okay.
And then I agree with the comments about the planter pot. I don't think it was built yet anyway, right? The planter pot on top of the trash.
I was actually there yesterday. There were a couple pots there. You're right. They were kind of dried out because, provided the given recent weather. Will they survive over the winter? Probably not. So, but there were several planting pots on top of the trash, the little, structure on the top.
So that's already exists because I don't think we have a photograph of it existing.
They were there to be, let me see. Because it was approved on the 2018 applications. So the owner built it accordingly. And so it's been there since, I think, last year. However, the plants they put on, it was on a couple of planting pots. And I was there yesterday. They were kind of, one of the commissioners mentioned that, probably not going to survive in the winter. So that's what it was. I can submit the photos that I took yesterday.
Yeah, so I'm just trying, I mean, there we have this thing and I don't want to see like dead pots. It's worse than seeing
Yeah,
nothing.
so can I ask what, if it's on the pots, it's not going to survive. If we switch to planting on the ground, would that be better?
It'd be better, but are you offering planting on the ground? I don't understand what your suggestion is now.
Okay, so on the site, we actually have S1 all the way to S4, 4 different plants. And out of the 4, I think only S4 is on the planting pots. 1, 2, 3, they are all they're all shrubs planting on the ground. So if I eliminate the S4, that was on top of the trash, maybe I can just provide additional S3, so they'll be all planting on the ground. Would that satisfy,
Where would you be? I'm so confused now. Where would you put that?
In the back, the back corner?
Okay, so
I can plant additional.
Wait. The back corner drawing shows, and I don't know what the existing condition is because I don't see it on the photographs we just received. I see
Right.
The back corner shows S1, S3, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
S2. I believe that coincides with the natural area. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
So we were talking about if it's not installed, don't install it.
Okay.
If it is installed, what does it look like? What's there? Because we haven't seen a photograph that shows it in place. S4, so in other words, take it off the drawing if it's not already installed.
Well, S4 is the one on the planting pot. So
I know that, but I'm trying to clear up the drawing. So understand, our drawings need to look like what's actually there, and they don't, right? So S4, it's being shown as a pot. I don't know what you're suggesting there other than to take it out, and then I don't know what that thing on the top becomes. So do you
it
take
just become a flat, kind of flat roof, I guess.
So then you're taking off the edge of the thing, or you
Yeah.
put tape on it. So then you need to finish it off, otherwise it becomes like open garbage.
Okay. Or I can plant it right next to it. I can plant one more next to it. I can have them cut out the slab and plant on the, on the ground. To the left of the trash bin.
That would be great, but then you're offering to cut out slabs, and right now I see parking spaces.
Well, there's no, 7, 8, and 9. Well, I still have some room in that corner. There's no parking space, so I can plant additional, plants on the ground, instead of the S4, which is on a, planting pots.
Okay, I think the discussion was that planning isn't really necessary here. I'm more.
Or I can take it out entirely.
I'm more concerned about what's been built, and now there's dead pots in it, and it looks.
Yeah.
And how do you fix that thing that was built to hold dead pots so it doesn't hold more dead pots and just doesn't create like a hideous trash top? So come up with a solution.
Will do.
Flat. And is that what commissioners all agree? Like, we give this ghost up because we can't seem to get there. And so change the drawing to eliminate, right? To eliminate the landscaping here and to come up with something to finish finish off that enclosure thing. So it's just not a place where people throw their tissues and dirty rags and all
No
that.
problem. I understand.
Okay. Okay, anything else? Commissioners, did I leave anything out? You know, we went on a long time about the drainage. I think we have a solution. Okay, so should we go to the public?
So this case is 551-37BZ, 23302 Northern Boulevard.
And then also, Mr. Cherico, when you submit the drawings again, please only bubble the thing you changed and
Will
nothing
do.
else, okay? And then you number the bubble and you say, bubble number 3, and this is what I changed, okay?
Got it.
Bubble the whole drawing. Okay, good. All right, then, I think that's it. So how much time to submit this material?
Cherico, how long do you need to make your changes?
I can get it done today.
You're doing.
But however, the drain, they may have to fix on site. That may take.
Now,
3
Mr.
days.
Mr. King, sorry. Everything has to be shown on drawings, right?
Okay.
So when we see it, we need to see you show the drainage on drawings, show Commissioner Sheta that the drainage is working on the drawings, and of course, simultaneously, because we're not going to approve or disapprove your drainage as long as it's working, you can install the drainage. But I don't know about the climate, the temperature now, and whether you can actually do it. But okay, understood? We must
Understood. Yep.
on the drawings, all right?
Okay.
And yeah. So how much time? Don't say a week. Because you need to do the calculations. You need to figure this out.
Okay.
I'm
We'll
not
get it
sure
done.
that-
I'll resubmit when it's done.
No, well, you have to give them a date. We have to give them a date. So 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 10 days.
I really have to speak to the owner to see how much time he needs to fix it on site.
No, you don't have to do the work on site, she's saying. It just has to show on the plans. How much time do you need to show it on the plan?
2 weeks.
There you go.
All right, 2 weeks to submit. And, if the owner wants to go ahead and do the drainage installation now, would be
He probably will.
thing that we shouldn't be thinking about, which would be good, right?
He's anxious to comply with everything you're asking. This is not a bad actor. He's trying.
No, I don't think we're saying they're bad actors.
Yeah, I'm just saying, he's going to try. He will.
I
know.
hear confusion on the team, and I can see why we're having trouble getting some of the things that we.
Thank you. So thanks for clarifying it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Stay
Okay,
well.
so we call the next team, the next case? I got me saying team also.
Before you do that, I just want to make sure there's people in the waiting room. Most of them have names, and if so, those people can raise their hand if they want to speak on this by just raising their Zoom hand. There's one phone number. If you want to speak on this application, you raise your hand by dialing *9.
And again, the application is 55137 23302 Northern Boulevard.
Okay. All right, we can move on to the next.
Okay, so the next item, that second call, is 33478BZ, 23320 Northern Boulevard, Queens.
Hi, Eric Platnick.
Who else is, everyone?
Yeah, we're all
Raise your
still
right
here.
hands.
Yes.
Raise your right hand. Hello, thank you. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this testimony, in your testimony before this board, and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
Okay, proceed, Mr. Platnick.
I yield my time to the chair.
Okay, so I would say it's the same comments as the prior one, that to the extent that the drainage is not being shown to drain into the drains. There should be drainage, some type of drainage program such as trench drains or some other kind of drain installed to prevent the water from flowing into Northern Boulevard. Okay, that's basic. So same rule. Commissioner Shater, do you want to add anything briefly?
No, just make sure that the numbers are the numbers. The area in the equation is the total area of the site. That simply, the two sites need drainage design.
Okay,
That's
good.
it.
Good. And then I do have a question for Mr. Haynes.
Yes, I'm here.
Your survey, now that we have photographs to show how it's raining today, basically. I noticed this sort of berm between these two sites. I don't see the berm indicated on your survey.
What location is the berm?
It's between the two sites. It's like right on the, what would property line would that be? It's on the, that's north. I think it's on the eastern property line.
Yeah, it's on the eastern side of 23302 and the western side of 23320.
So it's on the middle property line.
The middle.
You're muted. Say that again.
It's on the dividing line between
Still
the
muted.
two.
Unmute yourself.
No, I could hear
I
him.
can hear him, Marjorie.
Yeah.
Unmute yourself. Something
No,
you turned
it's
off
you.
your mic.
Marjorie, I hear him.
It's not us, it's you.
Uh-oh.
To quote George Costanza.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Are you muted? Okay. All right.
No.
Now I can hear him.
Can you
Okay.
hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah, so you're speaking of the property line between tax lot 20 and tax lot 25, correct?
Correct.
Okay, the one that runs the 81.53 dimension and then the 100 feet, correct?
Let me just.
181.53.
Yeah, correct.
Is there a natural berm there?
I don't know, but if you look at the photographs, maybe Paulette Erickson in the photographs, there's
I will have to look back at my my party chief's field notes and amend the survey if it's appropriate to do. And also once we reach the process where the trench drain is installed, we will go back to the site and verify again its location, the top elevations, and indicate again flow to the existing drains.
Okay.
From that drain to the existing piping of the drainage system.
Yes. Okay. Great. Okay. I think we have it then. Thanks very much.
Okay.
Yes.
You're very welcome.
All right then. So then we can go to the public unless anybody has anything they want to add.
About this case, but if possible, after this, can we call the CrossFit?
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we have the drawing. Okay.
We have the drawings.
Okay, good. So this is
33478 BZ, 23320 Northern Boulevard, Queens.
Okay. So I assume that same amount of time to submit, but I'm going to give you a little more time because 2 weeks isn't enough time really to appear at any of our hearings. So that are coming up right now. So our first hearings are mid-January, so you'll have more time to submit. So therefore, you might get the work done on site in the interim. Okay, so I don't think I see any additional names in the waiting room. There are 4 names who probably are calling in. I'm possibly about the afternoon schedule, where we will start again at 2 p.m. And so if you'd like to go to this one, raise your Zoom hand or dial *9 to raise your hand. Okay. Okay. So I think that's it, right?
Yep. Okay. So are we done with this one?
Yes. Anything anybody needs to add? No?
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Thank you,
now I'm
everyone.
gonna, thank you. Recalling item number 10, 217-272BZ, 10-1946 Road, Queens. This is the decision item that was second call from this morning.
Can you say it again? 27, what is it?
Sorry, 2017-272BZ, 10-1946 Road, Queens. I'm sorry.
No, don't, sorry, I just didn't have it enough. Okay, so we needed revised drawings. Has someone had a chance to look at the drawings and confirm that the two doors are gone?
Yes, the two doors are gone.
Gone.
Okay, so now there's one door swinging that's labeled as fireproof self-closing, right?
Yes, 1.5 hour fireproof safe hollow metal door 1 shown.
Okay. All right then.
Yes, on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Right-hand side, sorry.
Yeah, I can't find the email, so I'm gonna have to.
Okay.
Word. And I just wanted, and the hours of operation.
I reviewed the submission with respect to the hours and I'm okay.
So okay, you're okay, but I just want to clarify for the record because it was pretty confusing. So hours of operation, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Is that what we're gonna do?
That's correct.
And Saturday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., closed Sunday.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. All right. That's that then. All right. So a motion to grant, I don't see any conditions.
Chair Perlmutter?
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda?
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta?
Aye.
Commissioner Shabeta?
Aye.
Applications granted. So this concludes the morning session. We resume at 2 p.m. for the afternoon session, review session.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. See you at 2. And for the attendees in the waiting room, we'll be back at 2, but you have to dial into a different meeting number. So check the check our schedule online for the correct ID